Ladies and gentlemen, welcome on in to the first official episode of the FS Podcast, otherwise known as the Fantasy Sports Podcast. We got Waya here as a co-host today.
Well, thank you, Jagger, for that intro. And today what we're going to talk about is what happened this past week, the NFL Draft.
Thank you. So we're going to be talking about whether we think if these rookies drafted are going to be anything of fantasy value. And, of course, we're going to start off with the number one pick, Joe Burrow, going to Cincinnati. Waya, do you think is he going to be anything of value?
Okay, well, looking at Joe Burrow, of course, he's the first-round pick. They compare him to Kurt Warner, apparently. It says right here. And right now, he's... with him winning the Champ of the Race to Riches story arc... Other words, he's going to be a stud. My bad.
You think he is?
I believe he was going to be a stud. Like I said, first-round picks are always hyped up, but then when it comes to the actual season...
They are, because perfect example, I don't remember if you remember, but Johnny Manziel was a first-round pick.
I remember
right?
that.
And he didn't last too long.
He did not last too long. So I believe he may become a stud, but right now I think at the first couple weeks he's going to start pretty good, not going to lie. Probably average around like maybe 20 points in fantasy.
I'm kind of getting a Baker Mayfield-esque vibe from him. I really think that his first year he's going to show out, but I think the second year, or at least coming towards the end of the first year, I think he's going to start dying down. I think there's a lot of hype surrounding this kid.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, he's good, but look, he had plenty of weapons in college. Do the Bengals necessarily have those weapons?
No,
they got A.J. Green.
That's
He's
all
coming back.
But there's really nothing for Joe to actually use, like his, what do you call that? Like his abilities to, win the game or even just do good for the Bengals.
I mean, he's got John Ross. He's got the speedster outside, but besides that, I don't really see
him.
Do you think he's going to be a top 10 quarterback in fantasy?
10? I don't see him becoming a top 10. Because I know he's a rookie, but he's still got Lamar, Mahomes, and all
let's
those.
be fair. Cuyler Marie was a rookie, and he finished in the top 10 last season.
He finished in the top 10. And compared to Joe, man.
But I think it was because Murray had that rushing ability. Joe Burrow he's not equivalent to Cuyler Murray's rushing ability.
His first game, he did run a lot. He did. Got it to overtime. They did lose, though, the first game, but he did pretty good for his first game. So knowing Joe Burrow, I would believe, like you said, he'd be really good his first couple weeks, but then...
Do you think he's going to die down?
He's going to die down, and next season, just probably won't hear of him again.
I think... You never know.
He'll be there, but he won't be there.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Next up, we got Tua going to the Dolphins. Do you think anything of value coming out of Tua?
All I know is that the Miami fans were so happy to get Tua, to get their guy. But right now, I really don't see him. I do see him, like I said with Joe Burrow, I see him, starting off really good, but I don't really see him ending out with a good season, making it to the playoffs. Like I said, what are his resources for him to make an impact?
He's got Devontae Parker at wide receiver, to be fair.
To be fair, he does.
But really, that's kind of the only weapon he got. The Dolphins traded away probably their best running back, Kenyon Drake, last season.
They did. The Cardinals have him now. Mm-hmm. And let's see. Tua is 6 foot.
That ain't bad.
Carl Murray is like what,
5'11".
5'11". And yeah, he's from Alabama.
And they're usually pretty good school, but
you
got to keep in mind he had those weapons in college. Yeah. I don't think he has the same amount of weapons as he does in college for the NFL.
Yeah. His weakness is a short stature.
He does tend to get injured.
He does. I've seen that. 2 ankle surgeries, hip surgery, broken nose, and a concussion as a starter.
Yeah. Do you think top 10?
Top 10. I can see him with Joe Burrow. When I think about it now, I feel like they would be top 10.
Do you think Tua will be top 10?
I think both would be top 10.
You think Joe and Tua will be
top 10?
I think Tua he'll be sliding in, but I don't think he'll quite solidify as a consistent top 10.
Be guaranteed top 10.
No, I don't think he will.
I can see that. I can see that.
Next up, we got Justin Herbert from Oregon going to the Chargers. The Chargers just came off of dropping Phillip Rivers.
I see that. Well, with them starting a new era with this Justin Herbert guy, the guy that's from Oregon, first round pick, of course. He's 6'6".
That's pretty tall for a quarterback.
That is pretty tall for a quarterback. Like I said, he's from Oregon, and so I mean, knowing he's tall, he of course he can, he's gonna have good eyesight, knowing where his receivers are at and all that.
They do have some good receivers in LA. They have Keenan Allen and Mike Williams.
Yeah, like I said, his only strength is his great size.
I think that's it. I think they really picked him because they kind of Justin Herbert reminded them a little bit of a young Phillip Rivers.
That's true.
But you think that Justin Herbert is going to have that same, or do you think he's going to have more oomph than Phillip Rivers to make that final playoff push? Because it seems like they never reached that. They need that final little push, but they never got it from Phillip.
They never did. I can see him having a chance to push them towards the playoff round, or even close to the playoffs, even to the hut.
Mm-hmm.
Just knowing, I feel like he would be there. Like, he probably won't blow up as much, but it'll be enough for the Chargers to know like that their team right now is still rebuilding.
Mm-hmm.
From them moving to LA, New Jersey's, all this, they're rebranding. And dropping Phillips, like they said, they're building a new era. So it's a whole new, different team.
Do you think that Herbert is a top 10?
I don't see him as a top 10. Like I said, he'd be enough for the Chargers to have him.
But you don't think he's top 10 fantasy?
I don't see him top 10 fantasy. But like I said, he's going to be really good for the Chargers to have with his height, young blood, knowing that. It's enough for the Chargers to have.
And then next up, we got Henry Ruggs, our first wide receiver we're talking about, going to the Raiders. I know you're a big Raiders fan.
Las Vegas Raiders. Like I said, I can't be biased, but knowing Henry Ruggs will do really good right now for the Raiders. The only thing I would say about the Raiders, off the rookie thing, is that they need to get rid of Derek Carr.
You think?
They need to get rid of Derek Carr because knowing Henry Ruggs joining the Raiders, I don't know if Derek Carr is really going to give him the big push he needs or all the hype he has behind him. He's 5'11".
It's decent size for a wideout.
I mean, he got the speed.
Mm-hmm.
He has the speed. What's he from? He's from Alabama.
He had good quarterbacks throwing to him in college.
Like I said, strength, game-breaking speed, stick outside to inside release, easy gliding, strides, and it's a route runner.
Mm-hmm.
And
do you think that you could see him as a top 10 fantasy wide receiver?
I can see him as a top 10 fantasy wide receiver. Knowing his speed, like I said, the only thing I'm not really sure about is Derek Carr. Yeah. Giving him the ball, giving him the chance to make himself a name out there in his rookie season. With the Raiders, like I said, the Raiders are kind of new too now. They're in Las Vegas now, new stadium. They're just getting new everything, and now they got this new wide receiver. It's gonna give them a little push for that new era.
I think that I actually don't see Henry Ruggs as a top 10. Reason being, look, they had Darren Waller last season. Darren Waller was in the top 5 fantasy tight ends at the end of the season.
That's true. And
they also have, what was his name? The other wide receiver.
Darren Waller. Dude, I don't even know. I know who you're talking about. He's a rookie too, isn't he?
Yeah, he was a rookie last season.
He was a rookie.
He didn't do too well, but he's still, on the later half of the season, he really shined out and really dropped Darren Waller's percentage.
He did. But yeah, knowing Ruggs going into the Raiders, when you think about it now, like I said,
do you think he's going to get the starting job?
I'm trying not to be biased, but on an honest note, I don't see him hitting top 10.
Do you see him getting the starting job?
I see him getting a starting job in the Las Vegas Raiders.
Do you see him as taking the number 1 spot in wide receivers?
No, I do not.
No? You think he's going to be a 2, maybe?
I would say a 2. What was it, Renfrow?
Yeah, Hunter Renfrow.
There we go.
He came back in the later end of the season.
He did. With them having, I feel like with them having Ruggs, it's a good addition to the team because with them having Josh Jacobs, Renfrow, and of course Darren Waller,
Mm-hmm.
and now they got a new young blood, like I said, with good speed, 5'11". Henry Ruggs III. I see them at least heading towards the playoffs.
You do?
Yeah, like I said, the only stump there is
Derek Carr?
is Derek Carr.
Man.
Derek Carr. I'm just saying we gave him so many chances. Anyways, next rookie.
Next up, we got Jerry Judy from Alabama, another Alabama receiver.
Mm-hmm.
He went to Denver.
That's right. Let's see. Let's look at like I said, first round pick. He's 6'1".
That's pretty decent.
Like you said, from Alabama. And
he's probably going to get Drew Lock throwing the ball. I don't think Joe Flacco is going to take back a starting job in Denver.
I don't see that.
And if you go back to the draft, the Denver's actually made some really good moves to getting Drew Lock some weapons. They got him some wide receivers, some O-linemen. Heck, I think they even got him a running back if I remember correctly, but I don't remember.
Yeah.
Do you see Jerry Judy? I remember, before I asked you if he's top 10, I remember they didn't know for sure if Henry Ruggs was going to go first or Jerry Judy was going to go first.
Like you said, yeah, I remember you telling me that, and of course Henry Ruggs went first, but with Jerry Judy being, like I said, being a battle between Jerry Judy and Henry Ruggs, I kind of think going with Henry Ruggs as the first pick off the wide receivers is a good choice, rather than Jerry Judy.
Jerry Judy, you think that Jerry Judy will be a top 10 wide receiver with Drew Lock throwing him the ball? Drew Lock kind of showed out near the later games this season.
That is true. I don't see him top 10. I can see him making like himself
top 15,
top 15, like to the 12th to 11th. I don't really see him up there with all the other wide receivers we got, even the veterans right now with the rookies.
They still have Cortland Sutton there.
They do, but I don't really see him being top 10 with the fantasy wide receivers.
That's true. I also don't see him top 10. Reason being, I don't know why, but whenever I thought of Denver, I never really thought as like an offensive powerhouse.
I don't really see that, knowing with their defense with like the
maybe it's a new era in Denver. Maybe they're gonna get really going on offense.
Maybe that is true.
I mean, to be fair, Philip Lindsay did kind of have a slow year.
He did.
But we're gonna pivot to the next player, who's actually another wide receiver. One who had a lot of hype surrounding him is CeeDee Lamb going to Dallas from Oklahoma. He had Jalen Hurts throwing him the ball. Do you see CeeDee Lamb top 10? I
can see him going top 10. I can see him making him that top 10. With him especially being on the Cowboys now, with them already having, Amari Cooper, and then they got Prescott. I can see Prescott throwing CeeDee Lamb the ball whenever he needs him. And I have a feeling CeeDee Lamb will be there when he needs him.
I feel like CeeDee Lamb is going to be the red zone threat that Dallas really needs.
He's going to take that right there, right in the end zone for him, right where Prescott's looking. I mean, of course they have Amari Cooper.
But I actually don't think CeeDee Lamb, surrounding all the hype, I don't think he's going to hit top 10. Reason being, they still have Amari Cooper.
That's right.
And Amari Cooper went off last season.
Amari Cooper. Well, knowing him, like I said, CeeDee Lamb 6'2", of course he's from Oklahoma, and he's a big play.
I mean, he's still got Dak throwing the ball. I'm not bashing Dak, because Dak actually was pretty good last season.
He was.
And with the addition of CeeDee Lamb, I think Dallas is going to make the playoffs again. Yeah. Do I think they're going to have a better record? Yes, I do. But do I see CeeDee Lamb top 10? I don't.
I could see him making his way into top 10. Like I said, they have Amari Cooper.
I think Prescott, he's top 15.
Prescott is comfortable with Amari Cooper and with his new rookie young blood going into it. I can see Prescott giving him a chance when he needs him. When he needs him, he's gonna be there for Prescott. And like I said, like Amari Cooper is there too. He's been in the league for a while. Of course, been with the Raiders first and got to Dallas. So I feel like there is a chance they could both be in top 10.
Really?
And like there's never usually both teams in top 10. Like there's never two wide receivers in the same team top 10.
Unless it's like Mike Evans and Chris Godwin.
Of course, that's way different. But like there is just a chance. Like I said, with all this hype behind CeeDee Lamb, like I said earlier about players being hyped and all this hype around them, it goes good for like the first week and then it just dies down. because they make a mistake or
Okay,
they're new.
I'll ask you this: do you think he'll be consistent at least? CeeDee Lamb. Do you think he'll be getting you at least maybe those 10, 15 points a week that you need?
No, I'm thinking about it. He won't be consistent when I think about it. Like,
that's how I'm thinking. Because you got Amari.
Amari Cooper's there, so I can see him making top 15.
And I'm not saying I want Amari to go down with an injury, but let's say Amari does. CeeDee Lamb immediately boosts up in value.
Yeah, he needs to step up. Well, he will step up if that ever happened. We're not gonna say it's gonna happen, but he will step up when he needs him. Like I said, when Prescott needs him, he's gonna be right there. But I don't see him being concise.
I see CeeDee Lamb
with
kind of
points.
like in that when they're driving down the field and they're like say on the 30 or 40-yard line. I feel like CeeDee Lamb and Amari are really gonna give Dak that final push they need just to get into that end zone. But we're gonna move on to the next wide receiver. Going to Philadelphia, Jalen Reagor. I think I butchered his name, and I'm terribly sorry about that.
Well, we got another wide receiver that's 5'11". He's from Texas Christian, and like I said, the only thing about wide receivers is that if they're small, if they're not too, when they're short, below 5, below 6, they got that speed.
I kind of got that. I think everyone is looking for that Tyreek Hill,
Yeah.
That real speedster that can get you down.
I know without a doubt. I agree with you.
I think Philly definitely needed a wide receiver because coming off the end of the last season, their wideouts were pretty hurt.
Yeah. Like it said, when they say, well, hey, one of his strengths is he's explosive, Mm-hmm. So that's everybody's that's that height got the speed, and that's what everyone's looking for.
But I feel like there's a line. You're either a Tyreek Hill or you're something like a Julian Edelman at that height.
Yeah.
You either play in the slot, but you're consistent. Or you're like a Tyreek Hill who goes deep, but he can get you those points.
He can.
Do you see Jalen as a top 10?
I don't really see Jalen as top 10. No
Even
way.
with Carson Wentz?
With Carson Wentz.
I feel like it's Zach Ertz. Zach Ertz and Deshaun Jackson, I feel, are like the two biggest weaknesses he has.
That is true.
Because Deshaun, he's still got a little bit of speed on him.
Like I said, I don't really see him making top 10. I can probably make him see what? Did I say top 20?
Top 20?
Top 20, top 15, maybe. I don't really see him up there with the names of Amari Cooper,
Mike Evans, Michael Thomas. That's another one.
Julio Jones. I don't really see him with those guys up there. So I would say he won't make top 10, but he is a good wide receiver that the Philadelphia needs.
Mm-hmm.
Is hopefully he not becomes a stud, knowing the past rookies that get this hype and it just dies down. But
I feel like he's kind of in the shadow of CeeDee Lamb and people like that.
He's in the back. He is pick 21.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't really see him making top 10 fantasy wide receivers.
Okay. We're going to move on to the next wideout. Justin Jefferson out of LSU going to Minnesota with Kirk Cousins and I just blanked on his name. Adam Thielen.
With them already having Adam, and he's 6'1".
A lot of people are saying he's going to play the slot.
Yeah, I see him not really making... I can see him trying to make his name, but I don't really see him... Cousins giving him a chance. I mean, of course, Cousins is going to... is not going to, not throw him the ball.
Yeah.
But, I see him...
I still feel like Adam Thielen is still that primary target.
I see that more as Adam than Jefferson. He is, like I said, his strength, good initial burst off the snap. It's a slippery footwork, around traffic and reduction in space. Mm-hmm. He creates separation.
Yeah.
So
we're going to move on to the next one.
Don't see him top 10.
No?
Nope.
Okay. We're going to move on to San Francisco with Brandon Ayuk. San Francisco wasn't really pass heavy last season.
No. Well,
let's just hit the short term. Top 10, yes or no, on Brandon Ayuk?
No.
He's a pretty tall dude. Pretty big guy.
Knowing who they already have on San Francisco, with them already making the Super Bowl last year, this guy's 6 foot he's from Arizona State. He's from where we live, Arizona. So I don't really see him making top 10.
Okay.
Knowing with the 49ers.
So we're going to pivot on to another quarterback.
Okay.
They had that long run of wideouts. Now we're going to quarterback. Jordan Love from Utah State going to Green Bay.
Like I said, I've seen all these memes about the Packers with their strategy, what they are doing, like, knowing they already, like, getting their replacement for their quarterback already and their first round pick, knowing that they can use it.
A lot of people said that they got Patrick Mahomes vibes off of Jordan Love. I don't remember if you ever saw that, but he's a real athletic guy.
Yeah, he is. He is. He's 6 foot. 6'4". My bad. And
I think that's like average for a quarterback.
That is pretty average.
Like 6'2", 6'4" range.
Unless you're gonna talking about Cuyler Marie, then that's way different because he's down there more. But he's tall, smooth.
Do you see Jordan Love? I won't even go top 10. Do you see him starting this year over Aaron Rodgers? Because it's a tough job over Green Bay.
Like I said, I don't want to say Aaron Rodgers is gonna get injured. But like if he does or he's out for a bit,
I think Jordan Love would.
I can see Jordan
step
Love stepping up. That's it. That happened.
I think it's gonna be like a Teddy Bridgewater situation.
Yeah, I was gonna say that happened, and like he's gonna step up, and it's just gonna, I don't know, maybe it was a good draft pick, knowing that they got a replacement for Aaron Rodgers.
I think that was it. I think that was really all they were looking for.
That's all they were looking for. And like I said, some Packer fans were mad. Like, give Aaron Rodgers some help.
Mm-hmm.
And they give him a backup QB for himself, and then, of course, they got to start running back, and they draft a running back there next. So
we're gonna move on to the Super Bowl champions,
Chiefs.
The Chiefs. Their pick was a running back, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Pretty sure I still butchered that name.
I can see him.
It's a tough job over at Kansas City for that starting job at running back.
LSU 5'7", new rookie with them winning the Super Bowl.
Because I think they still got Shady. They still got Shady McCoy.
They do.
They have Damian Williams, who went off.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Clyde is gonna get the starting job there?
I don't see him getting the starting job.
No.
I see him. Like when they like I said, when they need yards, they're gonna give him the ball, give it to him.
Mm-hmm. You think he's gonna be that last push they need? Like, say they're on the 1, and they need that. They need the gun it into the end zone.
I don't see that. I don't see Clyde stepping up with that to make that one big push. Maybe he will. I'm not saying he won't, but he probably will. And give them a push, knowing that like the Chiefs have this running back. When they need him, they need him.
Mm-hmm.
So 5'7". He's from LSU, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
And he has great ball security, but quick, but doesn't have a speed that house longer runs.
Yeah.
It's his weakness, it says.
So we're going to pivot off of the rookies because we're just going to talk about the rookies in the first round. We're going to move on to, after the draft, the playoff contenders. Do you see any teams that really made that push in the draft to really become playoff contenders?
Okay. I don't want to be biased. No, we live in Arizona, but I really see the Cardinals getting that push to get to the playoffs.
That's true.
And maybe the Raiders. I'm not saying they will, but like I said, Derek Carr. But knowing they got a good wide receiver, Josh Jacobs, Winfro, I can see them getting up there. But I don't think they don't have a good defense. But I can definitely see, of course, the Chiefs making it back to the playoffs.
I do too.
Maybe the Patriots with them without Tom Brady. Maybe in the hut. I don't know. Like I said, but I definitely see the Cardinals making a push towards the playoff with their new draft pick. With how they did really good last season with them getting Hopkins.
Mm-hmm.
I can see them making the playoffs.
I see them wild card. I don't see them solidifying like a first seed.
Yeah. And like I said, but last year, the Packers didn't really have anybody.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they still came with the old crew, Aaron Rodgers and all that, and they still made it, So I feel like the Packers would probably make it to the playoffs.
One team that I think really stepped up through the entire draft was the Dolphins.
Exactly.
They got Tua, and they got him a bunch of stuff that help him.
They picked up Tua. Like I said, Tua's a really good quarterback. Like I said, his weakness is all his injuries and all that. But I can see the Dolphins making the push towards the wild card.
Mm-hmm.
Just make it to the wild card.
Because think about it, they ain't got Brady in their division no more.
They don't.
They don't need to worry about the Patriots' super weapon.
No, they don't. They don't. Because I can see them making the wild card with Tua.
But they still have the Bills.
They do.
Do you think the Bills are going to make the playoffs again?
Knowing the Bills, I feel like they will. They will. So it would be a battle between the Bills and the Dolphins.
I never thought I'd hear that in my life.
It's 2020, and it's way different. Like I said, whoever thought the Cardinals will have a chance to make it to the playoffs after 5 years?
Yeah.
3 years? And they were supposed to make the Super Bowl like 5 years ago.
And what about the Niners? You think they'll be back?
Niners will be back.
Ravens. You think Ravens? I think
Ravens would be back, of course. With them having Lamar Jackson, people call him the baby goat. But like I can see him making that push. Like I said, he said a while back, he's not gonna focus more on his running speed, more on his throwing ability.
What about the Redskins?
The Redskins with them.
They got Chase Young.
They do.
One of the best D linemen.
Like with the,
I don't see him as playoffs.
I don't see him playoffs. I don't.
Maybe a year or two.
Maybe in the next 2 years.
I think so.
I see him making them that push with the draft picks.
What about the Lions? They picked up the best corner, but I still don't see them.
I still don't see them. Maybe just the Hut. I don't really see them making not even the wild card.
I don't see that either.
I don't really
because
see it.
they got the Bears and they got the Vikings and the Packers in their division.
Exactly. No.
And the Lions have always been near the bottom.
Okay. Well, what about?
I want to look at the Giants.
The Giants.
I don't.
Really don't. I mean, of course, with them losing a couple people last year and Eli Manning and all that, a couple years, no. I still see them as rebuilding.
Mm-hmm.
I still see them as a year to rebuild.
I want to look at. There's been a lot of quarterback news for this team, the Panthers. Do you see them? They got McCaffrey.
Of course, they got McCaffrey.
You think playoff?
Playoff material? Wild card.
Yeah, at
Wild
best.
card. At best. With the whole quarterback, like I said, they do have McCaffrey. McCaffrey still, even when they lose, he still makes that push.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, his fantasy points freaking skyrocket no matter what the score is. So just knowing that, I can see them making at least a wild card.
What about the Jaguars?
Jaguars, I don't really see them playoff material.
Do you see them as a winning season at all?
I don't.
I think it's still another rebuild year.
It still is for many teams.
Mm-hmm. What about the Chargers?
The Chargers, like I said, new era, new thing.
I think it's gonna be rocky, so they're not gonna have that playoff push they need.
They're not gonna have.
I think that'll be maybe.
It's kind of a test, Like we got all these new guys, we got a new quarterback. It's gonna be a year to test it out, basically. I don't really see them playoff.
What about one of the biggest teams to I think flop everyone's expectations last year, the Browns? You think the Browns are playoff material?
With them, they still have Mayfield, right?
Yeah, they still got Mayfield, OBJ,
Odell.
Landry.
Like I said, there was so much hype between them last year. Like, oh my gosh,
I don't see them.
Odell. I don't see them. They're still gonna be the Browns.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be offend anybody, but they're gonna be the Cleveland Browns.
That's true. What about the Jets? You think the Jets?
With the Jets, you know what? I don't really see them being playoff material either.
Winning season?
Winning season? No. Like I said, a rebuild year.
Mm-hmm.
They're still rebuilding their team.
What about the Bucks?
The Bucks.
Buccaneers
with them having Tom Brady, Gronk. I could see them making the playoffs. I could see them. Like I
don't
said,
see them solidifying a first week bye, but
yeah.
I see them still in the playoffs.
I still see them making the playoffs. Like I said, Tom Brady, a goat.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing no matter what environment you put him in, he will, drive that team to a certain point.
What about Broncos?
The Broncos with them.
I think it's another rebuild year.
I think it's a rebuild. Like they're still hurting from when Peyton Manning retired a couple of years ago, so they're still paying.
What about the Falcons with them acquiring Todd Gurley? Mm-hmm. Do you think the Falcons?
God fired on my page. You know what? Playoff material? Not really. I don't really see that.
What about Dallas? I see them.
I see them.
As we said earlier, I see them.
Because they got Amari Cooper, they got Prescott,
they got CD,
they got Zeke, they got Zeke Elliott. But that's just I see them making playoff material.
Eagles.
Yeah. With like I said, with the new Wits and Eric and. I'm trying to think right now if they're gonna make playoffs. I can see them making the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I can see the Eagles making the playoffs.
Vikings.
I
think it's gonna be tough in that.
It's gonna be really, really tough for them. I don't really see them making the playoffs. Maybe the Hut. Mm-hmm. Not really the wild card. But like I said, probably just a rebuild year, or just to test out what they got.
Saints.
I
do.
I
think they're usually pretty consistent at making it.
They are consistent every year.
Green Bay.
I like I
think
said,
it's going to be a battle between them and the Vikings.
I can see Green Bay making the playoffs. Just that one game, that one push that makes them go into the playoff. With them, like I said, not really picking up their good draft picks. I mean, I'm not saying they're not good, but them having a QB and a running back, I can see them still making the playoffs.
What about Tennessee?
Tennessee, you know what? I can see Tennessee. No, I can't see Tennessee. Never
No?
mind. Scratch that. I can't see it. Can you?
No, I can't.
Exactly. Point taken.
We already said the Ravens, of course.
Of course.
Seahawks.
You know, with them still having Russell Wilson, of course, and then that's really all they have.
They got
when you
DK,
think about it.
Tyler Lockett,
They do have Lockett
Greg
still.
Olsen. They picked up Greg Olsen.
That's true. I forgot about that. They did pick up Greg Olsen. You know what? I can see them making the playoffs.
Okay, so we're going to end it here. Waya, if you would go ahead and outro us, that'd be fantastic.
Well, thank you all for tuning in to FS Podcast, also known as Fantasy Sports Podcast. You know, you can also follow us on our social media accounts. In Instagram, it's fantasy.sports.podcast. And, of course, on Twitter, it's F_S_podcast. You can go on and go ahead and follow those. And, as always, thank you for tuning in to FS Podcast.